design your production process, a professional production process for ASEAN and probably for the member states. So to give you, after you will have to decide the policy of seasonal adjustment for ASEAN. Are you going to do the job or ask the countries to do the job? And things like that, you see, and do the aggregation of the adjusted series or and do the, you will have to decide that. So it's not a simple task. So would you agree with this large, we will discuss that anyway, but this is the objective. The objective is, let us say, to design your production process and to output automatically the indicators that will give you the idea of the adjustment. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Perhaps, Dominique, perhaps you also can give us your advice whether if the production of the seasonal adjustment is better to do in regional level or is it better in national level?
I mean, I can
perhaps
just,
you know from your experience.
Yeah, it depends of it depends of the member states. You know, you need to. It depends of the degree of knowledge of the member states for seasonal adjustment. I think that it's always better to have a target, and the target will be the member states are going to do the job because they know more their data. This is what Eurostat is doing, for example. Eurostat is, I would say, a number cruncher. It's just taking the data from the member states and they aggregate them. But when they do the aggregation, they control that everything is okay. So this is how they share the work. Sorry, I was disturbed by the video change. So they let the responsibility of the computation to the member states. They can help from time to time. They surely help from time to time. But after they do the aggregation work, but they control all the member states' data. Okay. For example, the calendar should be the responsibility of the member states because they know their calendar very well. But you could find in other countries, in other places in the world, different things, different strategy. For example, as far as I remember, the BCEAO, the Central Bank of West Africa, is doing all the job because they think that the countries are not yet ready to do the adjustment, and so they do it. It's another strategy. They have 8 countries, so they can do that. You can choose. I mean, this is the strategy depends on the, let us say, the statistical experience of the member states. Very often, it's more difficult for a member state because they do not have a lot of people involved in statistics. They have a lot of problems to create the raw data, to publish the raw data. So you might want let them to focus on the production of raw data for this time, and after just do the adjustment for them. And later, when they are more advanced, you give them the floor for the production, the complete production of adjusted data. It's a long, you know, it's a long way, Leah. There's no simple solution. It depends on the country. But for sure, you should be ready to take back the work because anything can happen. And if you want to publish seasonally adjusted data at the ASEAN level, aggregate level at the minimum, you must be able to do that for any reason. So you will have to develop yourself a multiple capacity to do that. For example, I mentioned that during the training, if for any reason a member state is late, and it could happen for good reasons, or I mean, that's life. They are late, they cannot deliver the data very quickly, and you have a responsibility to deliver an ASEAN estimate. You could continue to do what you are doing right now with just the sum of the available countries, but it does not work so well. I mean, you understand that if you have just 6 countries out of 10, it will be problematic. So you might think to consider to develop a capacity of forecasting the missing data, just to estimate them and to construct an aggregate that is based on the available data and on the forecast. So you could do that. So we can discuss that during the next training, of course, this kind of policy. It's not evident. I mean, it's a long way. It's a long way to stabilize this kind of policy, of seasonal adjustment policy. And you are right, the best is probably to see what is done in the other international organization. Because you have a very specific problem, the aggregation of several member states who are responsible of their data. So you have to cope with that. So this is what we will discuss probably a bit during the next training, with technical things, of course. But before you are able to develop this policy, you must be very fluent in seasonal adjustment and in the use of GD+ and R, so it will take some time. But don't be too afraid for that. I'm still here, not dead yet, so I could help. I usually help all the people I worked with in the past. I'm still there. It's not, I mean, it looks like a nice promise, but in fact it works. It works pretty well because people who are involved in seasonal adjustment are making very, very quickly huge progresses. And after, I do not have a lot of work to do because at the beginning, they ask me some questions, and because they are motivated to do the job, they progress very, very quickly. So I mean, I feel comfortable to offer this assistance for free, of course, but I'm very happy to do that. So this is for the first part. Perhaps we do you have any other question on the future training, the advanced training?
Yeah, Dominique. Yeah, I think it's a very good picture of the future syllabus agenda. Yeah. Was wondering from the technicality aspects, because now we are using the quarterly data. So next time we have to deal with monthly or perhaps even weekly data. And is there any aspects that you must emphasize when we are using this quarterly monthly data, which are not introduced in the quarterly data? Of course, calendar is one.
Yes, we saw one point is we will focus on monthly data next time. I mean, it was an introductory course. It was my idea to focus on quarterly data, at least at the beginning. The first week, we only did work on quarterly data. And so it was easier to focus on, because we had no statistical problems, okay? mainly no stats. So it was easier to separate the learning of the software and the statistical background, the statistical problem. The second week, I think we were more able to deal with monthly data, which are much more irregular, much more problematic. It was not a big deal to introduce the calendar. I noticed that it was pretty smooth. People, yes, it's technical, but people could do it very quickly. So it appeared to be a good choice to separate that. But during the next training, we will work mostly on monthly data because they are the problematic series. And we'll see something, for example, I didn't mention before, it's the treatment of a COVID crisis. I hope that for the next training, it will be over. But I will spend some time to show people how to deal with such a big event, how to make it, how to create how to develop a strategy for this kind of event. But we will work mostly on monthly data. Yeah, monthly data, how to tune, in some occasions, how to tune the filters to make things better and so on. Now, it will be definitely a bit more technical. I will come back, for example, on the construction of calendar regressors, which is a bit more technical, just to explain, for example, how we could try to measure the impact of a Chinese New Year, for example, in an economy. So it will be something a bit more difficult. But I mean, I'm sure people could handle that. Yeah. Is it the answer to your question, I guess? Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but by the way, do you have any idea how many days?
No, I think we should target something like 4 full days. It means 8 half days. We have a contract, so you just have to. No, we thought it was 15 days on the total, so we will be around 4 or 5 days. But I do not want to do something. It's long. I mean, half a day for 2 weeks. It's very demanding for people, I guess, because they have their own work to do. And at the moment, it's not easy because of the crisis. So I don't want to make it too long. So let us say 8 or 9 half days should be more than sufficient for this training, because we are going to prepare it. Okay, I gave you some ideas, of course, on the training, on the program, but of course it has to be validated by ASEAN and by you, I guess. So we will discuss. We have time, I guess. When do you have in mind to give this training, to organize the training? You think to do it in when?
Hopefully, if approved, around end of the year. Yeah?
Or before the end of the year, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, because you have some kind of momentum you do not want to lose. So, for example, at the moment, people are pretty concerned by seasonal adjustment, but I would say that we need to prepare the work, but it would be better to do it, in September, for example, to avoid. It would be good to have this kind of target,
Okay.
Just some months to prepare things, to be sure of the program, of things you want to cover, absolutely. And after we could do that in September, before the end of the year for sure,
That's fine.
So it's if you have any other question on the future program, Just ask them now, but we will have time to discuss that. I will make a proposal very soon, and we'll discuss. Okay.
There is the question in the chat room. Dominique
Wonderful.
from BPS, yes.
Let me have a look to it. Yeah, I did. Sorry, Mr. Could you please explain again about the output file Dimetra M, because there are a lot of columns in that file. Could you please tell us again which columns we should pay attention to when we want to make a quality report of a model? Okay, yes, the Dimetra M file, I can show you an example of this file, but you have it. We output an example of this file already. It's a very, very, very complete set of diagnostics. To be honest, the diagnostic, you know that I'm using on the everyday routine, I'm using a very, very small number of indicators. And if you have a look to the quality report I presented, I do not remember when, but at the end of last week, I guess, you have a simple sheet, and with two graphs at the top and a few synthetic indicators at the bottom. This is all what you need at the very moment. Now, this is all what you need in this incredible. It's a very, very long matrix, Dimetra M. Yes, what I should give you is where you can find these indicators in the file. It's not an easy thing to do that. It's curious what I'm saying, because I didn't show you, but you can tailor this Dimetra M file to your needs. So you can reduce a lot this file to your needs. I'm not used to do that, because usually when you have a very problematic series and you really want to investigate, sometimes you are going to use indicators that you might have canceled from the output. So usually what I do is I output everything, and when I use I want to draw my quality report, I'm going to pick things in this huge matrix. So it's, I keep everything, and I'm just going to look for what I need after. So it's difficult to answer to your question, Daisy, because it's a question I'm going to cover during the advanced training. Because in this, I will have to explain the columns, and sometimes the columns are not very easy, because you have spectral diagnostics, you have diagnostic on the Aroma Residual with some very curious, not to say strange test. And so I do not want to do it now. It will take too much time, and probably it will be too difficult for this basic course, introductory course. So Daisy, I hope you will be in the advanced course and you will have the complete answer to your question at this time. Is there no other question? Me too, Daisy.
Morning, Dominique.
Daisy.
Yeah, this is related with Daisy question. Actually, I also have question regarding this. I mean, I cannot imagine what is the output that we could get after this 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks meeting. At least the simple one, or if you have any example on what is usually the output, the simple output, so we could have a conclusion to some cases, for example. Thank you.
Yeah. you can find quite easily if you do if you output the big matrix, the big quality matrix, and if you try to, you will find pretty easily the indicators I'm using in my very simple quality report. So you have the quality report itself. I can show you if you want back. Let me show you. May I share? I will share my my screen, okay? Just to show you things. I think it was the last session. Let me show you. Yeah, it was this quality report. So you see, it's not difficult to find them in the quality diagnostic, because the two graphs, of course, you know where the two graphs are because we were commenting them every day for now 2 weeks. So you know where they are. What you know how to export them, okay, manually, you know that, but you do not know how to export them automatically or to create them with R. I will show you later that, okay? So you do not know how to do that, but you know these two graphs. Here you have what appeared at the main result, at the top of the main result window for a dedicated indicator. So you see the estimation span, the number of observations, the Aroma model, the series has been log transformed or not, no trading day effect, no Easter effect. So you know that, okay? The Q statistic, you know them. You know where you can find them. You remember it's in X11. You can find them very easily in the matrix. And you can find these things quite easily too. The decomposition into cycle, seasonality, regular, and trading day and holiday effect. It's a bit more tricky to find it. The outlier, it's very easy. And the test for seasonality, it's not difficult. I can show you if you want. I can show you where they are. And the residual seasonality, I can show you. And the residual trading day effect, I can also show you. Okay, so I will show you where you can find these things in the quality matrix. So the quality matrix, we output one. I do not remember when and where, but I will find it. Perhaps it was in, I'm not sure it was in this monthly data because but I can do it. Okay, let me do it. If you don't mind, I can do it live. You can try to do it with me, but I can do it, okay? Just to show you again how to output it. But with R, we will never do that. That's the problem. But anyway, I will show you. Okay. So I open, if you agree, you want me to show you?
For me, those example is enough.
Okay.
But if there's no something you want to discuss again, I would like to see that. But if you have, if you want to discuss another thing, then I will wait. That I mean,
Okay.
that example is enough for me. Thank you.
I understand. Let me check if I have one. If I have one Demetra matrix in my, yes, I do have one. So we can easily do the job, okay? So I open this file. I was not sure I have one. So you see, you have here the name. You have the name of a series, okay? You have here the periodicity of a series, the starting date, the ending date, the number of observation. Here you have a dummy variable that indicates if you have a log transformed data, so a multiplicative model or not. So 1 for log 0 for additive. Here you have a leap year effect, the number of trading days, the number of moving holidays. So because this one is for quarterly data, I ask for no trading day, no moving holidays, and so on. The number of outliers, the kind of outlier, the outliers themselves, with the point, with here the estimate of the impact, and here the student, the t-value. So after you have, sorry, you see that you have the M statistics. Excuse me. You have the Aroma model, so one part of the output. You have the M statistics and the Q statistics here. You have here the decomposition between cycle, seasonality, irregular trading day, and outliers. And here you have the test we were looking for. So you have here the seasonality test on the linearized time series. Sorry, I will zoom. I know that Fatur loves when I zoom the data. So here you see CIS-LIN F, which is an acronym to say Fisher test for seasonality on the linearized time series. So you have here the statistics, okay? You have here the Ljungberg statistic, the Kruskal-Wallis statistic, the Friedman statistics, and you have here the combined test. Here you have the same things on the seasonally adjusted series to see if you have a residual component. And here you have, you look if you have a residual trading day effect in your series, okay? So this is how it works. And after, it's a very, very small one, but it was my, just to show you the names. Of course, because this output is my output. So I synthesize the number of indicators to have just an Excel file. I could send this file if you want, so you can just check what are the name of the variable in the Demetra M file you could output. So you have two ways after. You can work on these statistics to output the problems, or you can also, if you are very good in Excel, you can build an Excel a VBA macro program just to put this kind of indicator in this kind of form. I mean, it's not easy, but you can do it. It's much easier in R because it's already done. That's why I would like to show you. It's not, this one is not done in R. I will do it soon, but you can find all this data very easily in R. Does it answer to your question, Fatur?
Yeah, almost actually. I'm sorry, I can see almost.
No.
Because I need description on the result. For example, when you show me the Brunei GDP with its component, if you have at least two indicators saying that GDP by agriculture of Brunei is the time series is like this. In your description on the result, for example. Yeah, for example, that
this results
what
description. Yeah, I try to told you in my words, but obviously it's not enough. You need something more. Okay, I will I will present that on a slide probably.
Yeah,
because
later,
you know
after this maybe. Thank you.
This kind of label is very explicit, but I will do it. Okay, I will do it. I will take a more complex thing with calendar effects. Okay, I will do it. I will present it anyway. I will integrate it in my slides for the next time. I mean, So I should do it. Yeah, you're right. But
Sorry, and
this is
thank
the
you.
point. We are doing a basic course training. So this kind of thing, it's a bit could be a bit tricky, because I need to introduce, to do that very easily, the cruncher, how to make the selection of things and so on. I thought it would be better to do that in an advanced training, but I will try to give you some indication. Okay, it's noted. Other question? No? So it will be a very short session. If we I will work on, I will present you A, and I will explain you, I will try to explain a bit to Agus, to build around the Agus question, not Agus, Fatur question, sorry. I will try to build on that during my presentation of A, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So is there any other question? No?
Perhaps from member countries, if you have a question, please.
No? Okay, so if you don't mind, you shared the presentation. I saw, Siska, I saw that you sent to the people the PDF file. So I will go through this very simple presentation for A, and after I will make a demonstration, okay? So let me share my screen again. It's not this file. Okay, so this is a short presentation about GD Plus on A. So you have some natural question. Why should I run GD Plus from A? What do I need to run GD Plus from A? The installation of a various page, and I will make a demonstration about the first exploration of a series, running an adjustment, and using what we call the cruncher. I will detail what the cruncher is. So, as I explained you at the beginning of the training, GD Plus is in fact a build of a very large set of Java routines for time series analysis, and in particular for seasonal adjustment, but not only for time series analysis. So you can use it interactively. This is what we did. We were using the Java routines for seasonal adjustment interactively with a graphical user interface. But you can also use it in batch mode. I will show you later that. In batch mode, through what we call the cruncher. Because as I explained you, when you are in production time, you do not want to open the user interface every time. You want just to open it to solve the problems, because usually in production time, you are running out of time to do the adjustment. And you do not, so this is the first reason. And the second reason is that each time you do a manual intervention in a production system, you could make a mistake. And nobody wants that someone does a mistake during production time and, for example, destroy the databases. So the problem with the GUI, the graphical user interface, is that it's perfect for a detailed analysis. This is exactly what we did during the basic training the last days. So we were looking at one series, two series, one after the other, and it's a very good for a detailed analysis. For example, what we call an annual campaign. So you will do that once a year, and after you fix the model. I mean, you fix the kind of trading days, you fix the calendar, you fix the Aroma model, and after you will re-estimate only the parameters and not you do not change the specification. So you do not reopen the graphical interface in production time. You do that once for the annual campaign, once a year, except of course if you have you see a big problem in the production. It's perfect for that, but you have to manually export the components and diagnostics, and it's not very easy. I mean, it's not very I don't know, do not find my word in English. Anyway, and the other one is the cruncher. The cruncher is a batch mode, so some kind of command line tool that will allow the complete and automatic refresh of a workspace. So, for example, you will say, if you have a new data 1 month, you can relaunch the process, the adjustment process, just using the cruncher. It will refresh the workspace and take into account the new data. And you have an automatic export of the components and diagnostics. No manual intervention. And this can be very easily incorporated in a production process using R, for example. At the beginning, I was using SAS every time and do my analysis with SAS, my statistical analysis after with SAS. But you can do it with R. What is R? So R is a free software for statistical computing and graphics. It's a very powerful thing. I give you here some links to have more information. This is a command line software. The interface, the basic interface is not that good. So users developed a wonderful user interface, which is called RStudio, which is a set of integrated tools designed to help you to be more productive with R. It also works for Python, but we do not use Python at the moment. So it includes a lot of things, and you can really do a good. I will show you. It's very, very convenient, and you can download RStudio from the link I show you. And after you have, you might need also the cruncher, which is what I told you. This is a console tool that refreshes and re-estimates a complete workspace and exports the results, components and diagnostics. So GWSA Cruncher is a package, a R package that you have to install in R to run the adjustment. So you can find it on GitHub at this address. Okay. So now you need to have other packages. For example, JDemetra, R interface which is a R interface to GD+. Okay. So you have here all the details. You have R GWSA Cruncher, which will run the cruncher through R. So you will not have to write a command. You will use the package. So you can find also the source and the program here. And because this is the way R is working, other R packages might be installed on the fly by R when necessary. For example, if you want to use GD+, you will have to install the R Java package, which will allow you to run Java routines in R. At the beginning, it seems very complex, but in fact, it's very easy. The main problem in that is that in some occasion, when you are working with an official, your office computer, your IT department might have put in your computer some restriction, and you will have to install the program with their help. You cannot install them yourself. Very often you have some restrictions, some write accesses and things like that. Some accesses right, sorry. So this is all what you need to know. So you have to install things. We will discuss that later with ASEAN for the next training, because I will ask you to install the packages. It's not a big deal. You have to do it once. Sometimes it's a bit tricky due to the IT restrictions, but nothing you can solve. Okay, so now, if you don't mind, I would like to make a demonstration. So it's not, I have training, I should have a code somewhere. Yeah. So I wrote some small programs, very small programs in R, and I will send them to you, the programs. Don't do anything right now. You are going just to have a look to what I'm doing. And it will be, you will see that it's not very difficult. At least when you have a program, it's not very difficult to understand what it does. I will try to do it with you. Okay. So I open RStudio. So this is RStudio. You see that I will remove every other. Exploration and JDemetra. Yeah, I will just, sorry, I will remove it, and I will remove it. Okay, so this is an example of program. It looks very complex, but it's not. You will see. It's just a language. So you have some things you must know, and after it's after you can use it. You know, here I just took a program I wrote several months ago, and I just adapted to my my new situation, my new data. So let me check. So the first thing I have to read the data, so the Excel file. So you will use a specific package. This is the way R is working. So you have a lot of basic functions that are delivered with the software, and you have a lot of packages that performs a very specific task. Okay. So for example, you have a package. This package, Read Excel, is a package that will allow you to read any Excel file. So you have to tell R that you are going to use it, so that it will find the function in this package. So you are seeing it, you say, okay, put it in memory in your library, I'm going to use it. And after you just have to read your file. So you remember the file as a very long name, because this is the Windows specification of the location of the Excel file. So I put here something just to give you an example of how you can just indicate a variable. You have your path in a variable, and you say after, I want to read this file, which is this directory and the name of the file. And I want to read the first sheet. By the way, I have just one sheet, so I might have just forget about that. but it's you know that you can, if you put sheet 2, you will read sheet 2 and so on. Okay, so I do that. I just do that. I hope it will work. I didn't test it, but it should work. So I select the information and I run it. Okay, so what happens? Everything seems to be okay. I have here the journal, you know what is going on. I have on the right here some ideas. So you see, I have a matrix that I call CF. So I said, read Excel, read this file, sheet 1, and put it in CF. So CF, you see, I have 132 observations of 34 variables, all the variables of my data set. So if you want, for example, to see what are, just to print out a few things, you have that. Okay, so I just ask, just let me know what are my how they look like. So you see here I have my date, I have my series. Okay, so this one is a date time variable. This one is a numeric variable in double precision. Okay, so I already read my file. So now I have a problem. The problem I have to face is that I must need that this is a time series. And at the moment, it does not know this is a time series. It just take it like matrix. It's not for it. It's not yet a time series matrix, because it has to know that, because as soon as you have a time series, you will have access to a lot of functions. For example, just the plot. If you do not tell him that it is a time series, it won't work because it doesn't know that the x-axis should be the date, should be the month and the year. But so you will have to tell it. It's not very complex. So the first thing I'm doing is just I'm computing here the number of columns of my matrix. Okay, so I know it will be 34, but I put it here just to play with it after, because it can be used with any Excel file. And I will say, okay, I will extract the column from column 2 to column C, the last one. I will forget about the first column, and I will tell the software that I want to use this matrix, this new matrix, so removing the first column. So I want to use this matrix as a time series. So my function is TS. I want to do that. And my time series starts in 2010. It's a monthly time series. Sorry, 2010. 2001, so January 2010, and it's a monthly time series. The frequency is 12. So I do that. So the only thing I'm doing here is just to tell R that I'm working on time series, okay? That's it. It's completely different now. So if you look at the right on my data environment, the CF matrix was just a matrix, 132 observation, 34 variables, so 132 rows, 34 columns. And now look, the CF2 is a time series object with 132 observation and only 33 variables. And after you have the list, the starting date and the ending date. Okay, so now this is a time series, and it's incredible. Now it's very easy. I know that ASEAN imports is the first series now in my matrix. So I say, okay, imports, I select the first series, and I can make a plot. So I have a plot on the left. You see, I have a plot. I can do a lot of things. on this plot, but I won't at the moment. It's just a demonstration. So you can see here that you do not have to specify that you have a time axis, because we know that it's a time series. So we know that if you want a plot, you will have by default this kind of plot, the values on the y-axis and the time on the x-axis. So it's direct, and now you can play. You can really do a lot of things. Do not focus on the code itself, but because you have to learn a bit of, it's like any language, you have to learn a bit of vocabulary to discuss with R, and you must respect some grammar rules to make you understood. So here I'm going to do what we did. You remember we did that in Excel during the first week. We took a GDP variable and we smoothed it with a simple moving average. I will exactly do that with this very simple command. I will use a filter on my series imports, and I will use this moving average, which is the moving average X11, X12 is going to use the first time for monthly time series. So I do that, I compute the moving average, and I will plot, I will show you. So I compute the moving average. So it's very, I mean, as you see, I'm not writing anything, it's already written. So I'm just using it, adapting the program to my own data, but I'm not going to write a new program. So if this is the way you should start with R, you have a program, you try to execute it, and after you try to understand what the functions are doing, you go to the documentation, you play with the code and so on. So now I computed my moving average, which is a time series, okay? And after I want to have this plot, but to add also the moving average on this plot. So it's done very easily. I can do, for example, plot my function, and I put a line which will be moving average, my moving average, and I will change the color. It's just a syntax. You can change things, and you see on the right, you have now the new graph, which is the series with the smoothing values. And of course, we have a problem at the end because it's a symmetric filter, so we do not have enough information in the future to compute the last point. And this is the same for the beginning of the series. So you see that here, it's not complex. I mean, I would like you to be sure that it's not complex. I mean, you can speak R at least to do time series analysis. So I can do a lot of things. For example, you remember what we did in Excel? Because I have an estimate of the trend cycle in red, because I have a raw data, I can have an estimate of the other component, which is the seasonal plus irregular component. So I compute imports minus the trend cycle is equal to the seasonal irregular component. I do it. And now I want to do, I have something which is called month plot, which is a time series function, which will do a very basic plot, you will see. So it's a plot by month, okay? It's not very, very nice, okay? But this is exactly what is doing X11. And after X11 is using this kind of representation, and it will smooth every month, the values for every month to give you an idea of a seasonal component. This is exactly, here you have a time series. These are the dots in the graphic we were used to see during this week. It was on the right. It was the seasonal coefficient per quarter or per month. And if you remember, for each month or quarter, you had three things: the seasonal, the dots, which were the seasonally irregular component. This is this observation. And you had the blue curve, which is the smoothed value for that, and the average. I will show you how to derive a much nicer graph of this kind later with JDemetra, with JDemetra. But you have access, as I told you, to a lot of time series function in R. And for example, if you want to have an adjustment, a direct adjustment of a series, if you want just to do something very basic, I would just, for fun, I will never recommend to use this function, but for production, but you can do it. So you just ask to decompose the series and to plot the results. If I do that, this is what I'm going to have very quickly. You see, here I have the observed series, so the raw data on the top panel. The second panel is the trend cycle. The third panel is the seasonal component, and the last panel is the irregular or the random component. So you see, it's not difficult, and you have others. For example, you have others. You have others function. For example, the ACF autocorrelation function. I can do it. So I'm going to have my autocorrelation function. So not very difficult, okay? To be honest, and this, what I'm going to tell you is very true. It's really the truth. I never studied R, never. And I am a beginner on R. So I just mimic things. I took examples, and I'm working now with R without knowing a lot of things about R and the programming. I just know how to use that with my my series and my problems. My problem is mostly here, seasonal adjustment, so I can do a lot of things. So let me introduce now JDemetra. So this is a package. As we already used the package, it was to read the Excel file. So now I'm going to use another package to seasonally adjust the series using JDemetra. So you will see that it's not very difficult. So the first thing I want to do, I have to tell R that I'm going to use JDemetra. So that, for example, the function regarima x13, which is here, R doesn't know this function because it's not in its database, in its library, but it will know now that this function should be found in the JDemetra package. Okay, what is regarima x13? I mean, it's basic common sense. I'm going to use the regarima facility of x13. Regarima facility, you remember what it is? It is just the fact that you are going to linearize your series. So you are going to estimate the outliers. You are going to estimate also the calendar effects, if any, and so on. And so remember, some specification. We were using RSR1 for R seasonal adjustment 1, the specification 1. Here, I'm just going to do the regarima, so I will use another specification, but I do not know exactly the name of the specification. So I do not remember exactly, but I will try RG5AC, okay, which is we were using RSR5AC, if you remember, yeah, 5C, not 5C, sorry. So I will try this one, I will see if it works. If not, I will go to the documentation, okay? So run, it works, by the way. So you have a warning message that the package JDemetra was compiled. You can see that the R is working in my own language. So because my computer has a French Windows, it will adapt to the language. So for you, it will be, you will have something in English or whatever language you are using with your regional settings in Windows. Okay, so it says that it has been compiled with this R version. So it means, for example, because it has been compiled with this version, you cannot use it with a lower version. You cannot use it with R3.5, for example. So you need always to have, I will explain that in the future training. So now I did the Aroma model. So what is doing this very simple instruction? In fact, this function is computing everything, all the Aroma model, so it was very fast, and is putting all the results in an object which is called Aroma model. So in this Aroma model, this is some kind of, let us say, it's an object where you have a lot of places where you can find some results. So for example, let me print it. It will not print everything, okay, but just the basic. So I print Aroma model, so run. And here you have, let me show you. What do you have automatically? You have that your Aroma model is an Aroma model, is a regression model with an Aroma model airline. You use the log transformation. Everything was asked in this specification set. You have the coefficients of the model, and you have, for example, here, the estimates of the trading day effect and the estimates of outliers. Sorry. You can see, for example, here, because it's I'm using the equivalent of RSA5C, you can see that I have transitory changes, but I could change it. I could ask in my Aroma to forget about the transitory changes. I do not remember exactly how to do so, but I guess it's just outliers equal. I will try, okay? Not sure, okay? Just a live try. I should not do that, but I cannot prevent me to do it. Let me outer, it's not, no, it's not good. No, it's outliers equal, and I guess, sorry, I guess I have to put, I will try. There's 99% that, why? No, I don't want, there was an automatic update of the, so it wants to start the computer again. LS and how, let me try that. I don't think it will work, so do not be too hard with me. No, it does not. Argument, no, it doesn't work. I should have, perhaps it's out. Let me put out only. I don't know, to be honest, I should go. This is the way I'm using, so no, it's not working. Okay, so let me go back, I will check, I will check later. Okay, so I already did it, so I will do it again. And now, for example, if you want to have a better layout, you can just ask for something different. So you see here, it's pretty different. Let me show you a larger. So you have everything, you see. Now you have everything. So you have first the Aroma model, the estimation span, the log transformation, the regression model, okay, and the regression, you have a T, now you have a T-stat, and you have the outlier. So you understand that from this thing, you could be able to feel a bit my quality report, because you have here a lot of things that are, you know, that you have a log transformation, you have a trading day effect, no leap year effect, no Easter effect, 5 outliers. So you can build a very descriptive quality report, and a large part of a quality report I showed you just before. Okay, so let me continue to play with software. If I want to do now, let us imagine that I am a statistician and that I want to know if my residual of the Aroma model are very well distributed or not. So I will do some plots. So you see here this order here is just to tell R that I want to share now, to organize my output window like a matrix with 6 points, 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so I will design my output. So I run it. It does nothing. It just prepare the output. And now, if I want to have some plots from Reg Aroma, I will ask them to put it. And you see, I have my 3 lines, my two columns, and I have a lot of answers and a lot of, I have a lot of graph, and so I have a residual, the ACF of a residual, so no residual trading seasonal component, the histogram of residuals, they looks pretty good, the QQ plot, and here I have a decomposition, so I have a raw data up to on this top, and I have a linearized time series. Of course, it's surprising that they are not on the same scale, but it's just because in the Reg Aroma model, we put an average. There's a constant. You see, let me go. In this regression model, you have a constant. That does not appear here, but you have a mean effect. So it just changes the average, okay? And you have also level shifts and things like that. So everything is corrected, okay? So it doesn't matter to have that, because after the program knows it has been, the series is lower than it should be. It's included in the program. So now I could say, okay, I want to focus a bit on the components, so I can put a new graph. So I have a linearized time series. I have here the calendar effects, and here I have the outlier effect with the name of the outliers. Okay, so you see what I told you before. When you use the package, you create an object, and in this object you have a lot of information, and after you address the precise information. Of course, you need to know what information you can find here. So you will go to the syntax, the precise syntax of that. If I go to the precise syntax of Reg Aroma model, I would be able to know what is inside and how I can specify the outlier. I could do that later if you want. Okay. So now, if I want to do something a bit more complex, let me imagine that I want to do a complete seasonal adjustment. So I will ask the function x13. Look at that. When I put my, you see, when I put my mouse on the x13, I have a short description of the syntax. I should have had it also if I do it. No, yeah. Yes, but I do not have the others. Okay, So here I know that I could use, sorry, let me show that I could use RS4 4C. I don't know why I do not have the 5C, but let me try 5C, it should work. If it works, I will, yes, it works, of course. So it did not appear in the documentation. I will ask them to, they forgot. Yes, it was RSA5C was the first one. Okay, so I can use this one. So I did it, it works. Now I can ask, let me show you, I can ask for the diagnostics. So the diagnostics, so I have everything. Now it's a way to answer to your question, Fatur, you remember? So here I have the QS test on seasonal adjusted data. I have a p-value. I have the F test on seasonal adjusted data. I have a p-value and so on. I have a F test on seasonal adjusted data, the trading day effect. So I have most of the information I wanted to put on my in my quality report. You see now, Fatur, why I was. It's easier to answer to your question in A, because now you have a direct access to that and you are able to build the quality report. You are going to tell me, yes, but I do not have a graph. Yes, you have a graph. Let me show you. So I will do the decomposition now. So I have the diagnostics, okay? So look at that. Sorry, I didn't present you, comment all the diagnostics, but I have the relative contribution of the components. So all what I wanted. You have the combined test and you have a residual seasonality and trading day test. So you have a lot of things. Now let me continue. If I want to do that, I will do the decomposition, okay? So the decomposition, you see, I ask, so when I did X13 on my series imports with this kind of specification, all the results are in the object X13_mod, okay? And after, I'm just opening some drawers in this object. So I open here the drawers diagnostics, okay? I open now the drawer decomposition. So decomposition, it just, you see, I have the M statistics and I have the filters that has been used to perform the adjustment. In particular, I have Q and Q2. So I have things to populate to fill in my quality report. But I can continue. I can give you, of course, you have to learn a bit the syntax, but if I want to plot the decomposition, so I go in my X13 model, I go in the decomposition and I ask them to plot the decomposition. So here I have the SI ratio. So it's much nicer than it was before. So you can recognize here the dots, the blue curve, which is the seasonal component, and the black line, which is the average of all the dots, okay? So you have, so one of the two graphs, and now if I want to do something final, for example, I go to something different, okay? So run. I have here a printout of the last observed values and the forecast. Okay, if I want to have a graph, so I will put 10 because it starts in 10 in 2010. I will come back to I will do it. Here I have a second graph. You see, so the seasonally adjusted, the series, the trend, and the seasonally adjusted series. So you see, I'm going to stop right now. I'm not going to show you the cruncher and these things, but you see that I'm able with R now to run exactly what I did before with the graphical interface. I'm able now, if I want to publish, to put a PDF file with to build exactly the quality report I showed you before. Exactly, I have all the information which are available in this package and in these objects, which are the X13, the result of the X13 function. Okay, so this is what I wanted to present to you. I will stop now if you don't mind. I don't want to go further. We will study more things next time during the advanced training. But you see, Fatou, it's much easier to answer to your question with R than with JDemetra, because I mean, all the work has been already done by the package. So I understand using R, it's a new software. It's a new language for most of you. So it's a new words, a new grammar, and so on. And you have to learn it. But as I told you, I'm not fluent in R. I'm fluent in SAS. If you give me SAS, this is my second language, SAS. My first language is French. My second language is SAS. And my third language, perhaps a bit of English, okay? But definitely I'm fluent in SAS, completely fluent. You cannot imagine. I should say, perhaps it's my first language, but anyway. So I'm a very beginner in R, but anyway, this is the way you have to use R. You have scripts. I will give you some scripts, and you will use them at the beginning. And after, you will adapt them to your own philosophy, your own knowledge, your needs, and so on. Okay? So it's not, people are reluctant very often to learn a new software. I was. But now I'm saying, okay, just a new language. Well, yeah, okay. Why not R? And because my friends did the packages, it's much easier. The only thing I have to do now is just a short script, and really it won't be a big script because R is able to output PDF files with a specific package which is called R Markdown, which is a marvelous, I mean, just so you can output all what you want. Okay. So after, if I have 100 time series to seasonally adjust, what I'm going to do is just a loop, which is exactly what, in fact, JDemetra is doing. JDemetra, you remember, when you launch the seasonal adjustment, you see very quickly, valid, the data, it's going one by one, okay? So this is exactly what is doing the package R. It's just taking one series, seasonally adjusted, take the other, and so on. It's using, now you have processors with many cores, so it will use all these things to do the job and to do it very, very quickly. Okay, I'm going to stop right now. Do you have any question? How do you feel with R? When you look
Amazing.
at what, yeah?
Amazing. Magic. It's a magic.
No, I mean, it's just a software. So people did the job for you behind, you know? You have to understand what is very, very different from eViews, from a lot of, it's much more, it's much easier to use than eViews. Okay, you have to type commands for sure, but you have access to so many things. It's incredible. The problem of I will comment it later. Okay, it's slow. It's definitely slower than GD+, but that's life. I mean, just, you know, you have a new shell. You have GD+, and you put a shell around it, which is R. So you have to pay the cost. I mean, there's a cost, always a cost if you add something, but it's a small cost regarding the benefits. So this is Agus, you and Leah and everyone. You can see just a small part of what we are going to do with in the advanced course. I think that I will target the advanced course to the production of a quality report, automatic production of a quality report. After you select the things and you could change the quality report according to your needs, but I will do that for the next time. Any reaction from the floor?
Yeah, thank you, Dominique. Now, at least, obviously, you have convinced all of us that we will be able to use R. Yeah, because you said you are not fluent, but in fact, you can show that this is really very helpful. Yeah, that convinced us. Thank you.
We have a question from Daisy. The question is, can we seasonal adjust the data with R, even if we don't have a JDemetra program installed? I think no, because I'm not sure. Anyway, no, because the package JDemetra Plus is going to use, I'm not sure. It's a good question, Daisy. I don't know. I would say no, but I have a doubt. It's definitely no if I want to use the cruncher. But for this one, I don't know. I will, sorry, Joker, I cannot answer. Good question, Daisy. Another less good question, perhaps?
I think you can uninstall JDemetra and run again the R.
No, I'm not sure. Yes, you could do that, but yeah.
So you write the script in R?
Yeah.
Very long script.
No, it's not a long script. Oh, you mean?
Oh, you want to do the...
No, I didn't do the job. It's two people. Two people did the job to develop JDemetra and the cruncher also through R. One of them was Anna Michalek from the ECB, the European Central Bank, and she was working with Alain Cartier-Latente, which is someone from the INSEE, the French National Institute of Statistics. So they wrote the package and they are maintaining the package. That's a good question, definitely, Daisy. I'm puzzled by your question. Any other back question? No? So what I suggest you is perhaps that we do a short break, and after Agus, the floor will be yours to Agus and Lia, Siska, Fatur to close the session if we do not have any more questions. Okay, I'm not going to do another lecture right now. I'm done. Okay. So if you agree, we can take 10 minutes, 15 minutes a break. Okay.
Or we can just close.
You want to close right now? No
yeah,
break?
if you are not have any lecture anymore.
No, it's
and
up
then,
to you. No, it makes sense.
So I think, yeah.
So the floor is yours.
Perhaps, yeah. From ASEANstats, we thank you, Dominique, for your training for us. 10 member countries is joining with us. Also ASEANstats and also Pagus from RISE Plus. It's very useful for ASEANstats, and also I believe for the ASEAN member countries is also this is the first training on the seasonal adjustment. Yeah. Actually, we ever have this kind of training of only for the IMTS, but SNA is the first time to join this training. So we look forward for the advanced training in the JDemetra with R. Hopefully we have time to get using JDemetra before we have the advanced training. And then we also can prepare the data to support the training next month before end of the year. I think yeah, that's from ASEANstats. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Siska,
you.
perhaps Siska and Fatur is the officer in charge with trade data. Siska and Fatur is officer in charge with the macroeconomic data. You can also give some comment and then what you you feel after you get the JDemetra. Please.
I don't know if I have comments because previously I already learned a lot from Dominique since a few years ago. Maybe for this training, I can gather more information, then I'm more confident in using the JDemetra Plus though. Previously, because I discussed with Dominique using emails and then difficult to ask questions, but now since we have the online training, I more confident for me, so I know where to see the to read the graph and etc. and also to get the output to read it, so I get more and more knowledge on this training. Thanks a lot for Dominique. That's for me.
Yeah, for me, I think R is the answer to one of the questions. I think the second or first day, when people asking how do they prepare for the data, I think R can do this modification to the data, and it becomes an answer. But in short, I think the advanced training is worth to be attended, I think. But the question is, could Dominique agree to have more participants for next time? Thank you.
Thank you, Siska and Fatur. Yeah, perhaps Pak Agus from Rise Plus as funding support for this training. Can you also give some remarks to close? Unmute, Pak Agus.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we have come to the end of the session safely. Thank you very much, Dominique. And I must say that we have met our objective successfully. You have been successfully introduced the tools, yeah, and make us familiar with how we should extract the data and how to select the methodology and apply it and look at the results, yeah, and read the quality metrics. And now we have that kind of capability, and I believe colleagues, the participants, have a quite good comprehension of the tools. Yeah. Thank you, Dominique. You have been working very hard. Sleep less in the morning, but perhaps more in during the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. And yeah, of course, some of us will have some different levels of confidence, yeah, and using the JDemetra, but this is normal and it's fine thing. But the more you practice, the more you will be getting influenced with it. And yeah, in response to your great interest in seasonal training, And in anticipation of the more advanced training, then of course, if approved, yeah, would like to provide you with the participant, I mean, would like to provide the participant with small but prestigious award. This is the certificate, which may be needed in the future if you would like to take a more advanced class anywhere, and including those if we have one in the future. And yeah, just to inform you that we attempted to put in our work plan for this training. Hopefully it is approved. So again, thank you very much. And Tari will explain to you about the certificate after my remarks. But yeah, if there's nothing, maybe Tari should explain the certificate. Tari, please.
Yes, please, Tari.
Thank you, Pak Agus and Balia. And first of all, I would like to apologize because I cannot turn on my camera. There is something wrong with my camera, so I apologize for that in advance. Okay, about the certificate, yes, indeed, the participants will receive the certificate from us, RISE Plus. It is signed by the team leader, Paul Mendel. And the requirement for the certificate is the participants has to attend the 70% of the training. So more or less, it should be minimum in 7 days. And I and the ASEANstats already have the data. So perhaps the latest, hopefully you can receive the certificate on Monday, the latest. So we are working on that. And Mbak Siska from ASEANstats will send you the certificate. I think that's all. And if you have any question, feel free to ask me or Mbak Siska about the certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Tari. So I think, is there any more from Dominique before we close?
It was a pleasure to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to meet everyone. I had a good time. I'm not joking at all. It was a pleasure to see your smiles, to have you on board. So unfortunately, I could not see anybody, all the people, but it was really a pleasure. Thank you so much
Thank you, Dominique.
for this good day.
Let's give Dominique a big applause.
Okay. Thank you, and see you next time, Dominique.
Okay, I will keep in touch with you and Siska and Fatur for future work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
for
sir.
everyone,
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Up.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
See you
you.
next time. See you next time.
For ASEAN and I pass to support this training.
Oh yeah, Mr. Yefong. Thank you, Mr. Yefong.
Yes.
Thank you
Hello.
for all the participation.
Queen. Yeah.
See you next.
See you. Bye.
Yeah.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you
For
all.
another training, Mr. Yefong.
Yes.
You notice I learned JDemetra until my hair is lost.
Oh my. And have your video, Pak Fatur. Video singing.
Oke, Tari, thank you. Siska, Balia, I close ya.
Terima kasih.
Ya.
Kasih.
Kasih ya.
Terima kasih semuanya. Oke.
Dadah.
Tutup ya. Bye-bye. Siska, thank you.